What's going on, people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be showcasing 4 of the most damaging interactions in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. These combinations are busted, some of them aren't even fully working, but you can still abuse them to deal some insane damage. I'll be explaining what few items you need to get them started and how you can use them to dominate the Wonderlands. If this video helped you out, I'd appreciate you helping me out by dropping a like. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to, or you can even follow me on Twitter, and let's crack into it. We open this showcase of the most powerful interactions currently in the Wonderlands with the Bubba Load, a top tier amulet from Glutton's Gamble that you can grab from the Wheel of Fate at any time, and it's dedicated to dropping from Imelda's 4th stage. Of course, an amulet isn't powerful on its own, you need something to pair with it, and what's the cheese to this cracker? It is of course weaponry which fires stuck crossbolts or saw blades. Those include the Ruby Spite, Donkey, Encapsulator and Ludite, among many others, which all help trigger its unique effect. It applies a pincushion effect, which causes attacks to have a 15% chance to fire attached crossbolts to nearby enemies and refund a portion of ammo, with that percentage increasing with its power level. While mobbing, it essentially applies the Jacob's Ricochet effect to all weapons, increasing the collateral damage you cause wherever you go. That effect is always active, but its ammo refundability is not, as for some reason it only works for the first 3 or so seconds of firing after you equip it. Fear not though, because that is all the time you need to take advantage of it and deal some mighty damage to some big bosses. Using something like an Encapsulator or Ludite, which fire crossbolts and TNT, you get the bonus from the extra crossbolts and added gyrojets it grants you by refilling your magazine. It's more effective with a Ludite thanks to its smaller mag and bigger gyrojet bonus, allowing you to stick 2 to 3 times the stickies you'd normally be able to. If it wasn't bugged, it would be unreal, but even now the damage here is through the roof. Next up we have the Livewire, an incredibly unique SMG that can only come in shock and only drops from the world, making the SMG buff bunnies your best bet to get one. Although the Livewire is good on its own, it's nothing compared to the damage it musters when combined with a powerful melee weapon. Some I suggest are the Wailing Banshee dropped from Banshee in Wheatwild Dankness, the Twin Soul dropped from Nightmare in Usulgrol Necropolis, or best of all the Salt and Battery, a weapon from Glutton's Gamble that drops from the wheel at any time but is dedicated to dropping in Imelda's 2nd stage. For all of these punchy guns, you want them to have an Echo Hilt mod for maximum damage. The reason why the Livewire is the go-to for melee builds is because it grants a standard 18.5% melee boost and chains powerful lightning strikes every second hit, which scale depending on how empty your mag is up to 300%. Fire everything into your enemy then and you'll supercharge Echo before your melee weapon deals 3 times its regular damage. And a Buffmeister with Bonk will increase that by another 80%. Proccing the Salt and Battery's battery effect by landing a crit will see a melee dagger storm erupt from the point of contact and slice your enemy to pieces. One shot is generally all you need when that happens, but when using the other melee weapons I mentioned, a few swings is all it takes. It's actually crazy the amount of damage it deals and will make boss fights a walk in the park. Moving on to Fear Not Pixies, an interaction that actually got better during its time and still dominates today. Your best bet to grab a Fear Not is from the Chaos Chamber buff bunnies, but you should also check vending machines. Like almost all Feriors, the Fear Not is best when you shoot once and reload, and you'll want that reload effect to summon Pixie Companions, which will take down all that stand before you. Pixie Companions are good on their own, but when your build shines a light on them, the damage is unreal. Their power can be boosted by companion damage, but also and most importantly spell damage, which can be taken to the next level by the Buffmeister with Zap on it, and you'll also want the spell shot's double knot skill, which is still strong even after it's quote unquote adjusted. The thing is, in the past, you could only spawn 3 of them, which was fine, you know, balanced, but for whatever reason now, instead of having triplets, you can have non-nucleates. Talk about a fertile weapon. Having 9 of these accompany you will quickly turn the tide in your favour. Boosts to reload speed will help you to reach that number and will also see you maxing out your spell weaving stacks, and subclassing as a stab monster with From the Shadows will proc double knot the most. The gameplay you're witnessing is me using a bog standard Fear Knot, so anyone at all will do just fine. The last interaction I have for you isn't a gun but a skill, and that is the Stab Monster's Contagion, which if you throw all the eggs into that sickly basket can do some unreal things, but is more gear dependent than the others on this list, and I must say I don't have all the pieces. I just chucked on what I had in my bank and it still did work. Contagion is a skill that you can infinitely dip. Whenever you apply a status effect, there's a chance for it to spread to a nearby enemy, and if no one's there, it'll apply a new status effect to the existing enemy without losing any of the initial status effect's damage. The key thing here is all in your status effect damage, as because the new status effect is essentially a copy of the old one in a random element, it will actually increase in damage as long as your status effect damage is greater than 100%. For example, if your status effect damage is sitting on 110%, then that new status effect damage will be 10% stronger than the original, which can then loop again and become another 10% stronger itself, and so on and so forth, but that is largely based on chance. To speed up that loop, you'll want to apply as many dots as possible, as Contagion procs for each one. So here I'm using the Frost from Berserker, a Buffmeister for Lightning, Plate Mail for Dark Magic, a White Rider for Poison, and if I'm mobbing, a Body Rune for Fire. A double rolled status effect amulet is also a big help in this setup. Getting extra points in Contagion from your armor makes a big difference, so much so that you will see bosses pop like a bubble. I don't have that, but the status effects were more than enough to get the job done. It was even enough to one-punch bosses with Salt and Battery, no charging up echo required, nothing, just proc my enchantments, swing and let the melee Dagger Storm take care of the rest. The Plate Mail lets you spawn 2 Dagger Storms, and even with just hitting with 2 elements, was enough for Contagion to finish the job. It's definitely the skill with the longest damage spectrum, and what you see here isn't even close to the top. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned of the most powerful interactions in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.